Hello everyone. Today you are going to watch this video, this GFX tutorial, and when you are done, you're going to have something like this. A really nice GFX with a character, with a simple character, a simple background, and some simple text. You'll also learn how to do a lovely watermark. So, you're going to need a few things. They will all be linked down in the description. You're going to want to get Roblox Studio, download it on your computer. You should have it downloaded if you play Roblox. You're going to need Blender, which will also be linked down in the description. I'm using Blender version, doesn't say what version, but I think it's like 2.09. It'll say in the description if you go check down there. Version 2.82.7, that's what version I am using right now. And you will also need to get the website Sketchpad. This will also be linked down in the description. It's not a subscription or anything, you just have to open up Sketchpad. This is a free website. This is my editing software that I use while making GFX. So we're going to start off by going to Roblox Studio. And this is what your screen looks like. If it doesn't, go to the left over here and click New. It should bring you to this screen. Make sure you're signed in your Roblox account. I am currently signed in, so all my progress will save. We're just going to click Base Plate. Now it should say Opening Place, Loading Place, and here we are. We are loading into Studio. So as you see, your screen probably looks very different than mine. And that is, okay, I'm going to show you how to do that, but first let's start off with some simple controls. You can press WASD to move around in Studio. And then if you take your mouse, and you can click with left mouse, you can see I'm clicking things. You can click this and this with left mouse. Holding down right mouse button and dragging allows me to move my camera. And then holding down middle mouse button, your little thing. This is not, I don't rarely use this, but and holding down middle mouse and dragging allows you to do this. So just go get yourself, play around with controls. Feel free to pause the video right now and just get comfortable with Studio. Okay, now that you all know how to use the basic Studio controls, we're going to go ahead and get your screen sort of set up like mine. You should see these tabs over here: Home, Model, Test, View, and Plugins. Sorry. You're going to want to click the View tab. So you have all these tiny buttons. Don't get overwhelmed. You won't even need to touch a lot of these buttons. It's okay. You're gonna, right off the bat, you're gonna want to make sure that all of these are regular white. They're not grayed out. And then you're gonna want to make sure that Explorers and Properties, as well as Team Create, is grayed out. Now what you can do is you can take your Team Create menu. I put mine over here, and Explorer up here, Properties over here. So just drag it, it should come up like this, and then now your screen is identical to mine. Feel free to replay that section if you need any help. They should appear somewhere on your screen, and then you can scale them, whatever, but just drag them to the side, see that blue gap, and you have yourself situated. If your menus come out like this and you have a tiny section, feel free to come here and shrink them back down to this. Oh, you're also going to need the toolbox. So how the toolbox works is you can take the toolbox. So you're going to have it out. It should appear maybe down here, but then just pick it up and drag it so it makes the entire Team Create blue, and then let go. Now you have two buttons here at the bottom, Toolbox and Team Create, and you can swap back and forth. If you have your screen like that, you're good. Feel free to replay it if you need it. Next, we're going to go and you're going to decide what character you want for your GFX. You could find a Roblox character, or you could simply just search up in the toolbox, like I'm going to search up right now. So I'm going to search up Clone Trooper. I'm going to make a simple Clone Trooper GFX. So let's take this Battlefront guy right here. Looks cool. If you know how to make guys, feel free to use custom guides. But for the sake of this tutorial, I'm going to be using this First Order Stormtrooper right here. So let's just, get myself situated. Many of your guys will look like this, and that is fine. You're just gonna wanna, we don't need a camera. You should just have button. We can delete button. You should just have 2 arms, a chest, helmet, and legs. They might be named. Now you might have something that looks a bit more like this dummy here. He has left foot, left hand, and all these crazy things, and it looks very complicated. If you have something like this, what you can do right now is you can just know that it's going to be a lot harder to pose him. So, I'm going to link this guy down in the description, but just know that this is his left foot, so you can go, and while holding down your control button, have left foot, then click left lower leg and left upper leg, and then you can right click and click group, and now it's one model. This model, you can rename it to be leg 1, and now you have the same thing as this guy, one leg. But I'm going to be using this guy. So now, you may have noticed how I have these arrows or all these weird things going on. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to go to the Model tab, and you should have these 5 little buttons up here. Transform is a very weird thing. I don't even know what that is. Don't use transform. I have no clue why I would use this. But you have rotate. You click rotate, you'll notice you have these 3 circles here. And when you click and hold, you rotate your character in that circle way. So I can rotate him on the blue circle and on the green circle. That's pretty cool. I can also scale. Please don't scale. I don't recommend it, at least. But you can make your guy bigger. You make him bigger that way and stuff like that. You also have move. Move is going to be for GFX, we're going to be using move and rotate a lot. And you can move your guy on the blue, the red, and the green. If you ever do something you don't like, you can just come up here and press the undo button, and it will undo whatever you just did. Now let's say I move him over here, but then I decide, I didn't like that. Let's move him back. Maybe you're like, oh, maybe I did want him over there. You can press redo, and it'll redo whatever you just undid. Now we have our guy, so now we're going to pose him. We can go into his arm. We're going to open up that rotate tool. I'm just going to rotate his arm, make him look alive. There you go, that's cool. And then let's just move it in. That's pretty simple. We can also search up Star Wars gun. I'm going to give this guy a gun, make him look cool. So let's take this gun. Whoa. So this one's under a tool. Oh God, this is complicated. So I'm just going to currently take this lovely gun. I'm going to do this stuff to it and just get it like this. You don't have to do this. This is just more stuff. So I recommend you get familiar with Roblox Studio before you do GFX. But if you don't know how to do any of this crazy stuff yet, it's okay. Just do it what you're comfortable with. You'll get better over time. So now I'm just gonna position this gun in front of my stormtrooper, my first order trooper, and then I'm gonna go back into him, arm 2. I'm gonna move arm 2 to hold the gun that I gave him. This very simple pose. I could even move arm 1 actually to look like it's helping hold up the gun. Rotate this, bring it up a bit more. There you go. Let's just fix this gun a bit more. I don't like it, so I'm just gonna play around with it. You could spend as much time as you want posing, but this is this doesn't look too good, but this is what I'm just gonna go with for now. I'm not gonna spend an hour posing this guy, though. The max I've spent posing a guy was 20 minutes. It's not crazy. But if you want to go all out crazy, you can go all out crazy. So now what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to hold left click and drag over everything you have. So your guy, if you gave them a blaster, if you did all this other crazy stuff, maybe you made parts behind him or you built him on this cool platform, I don't know. And you're going to want to group it again. So I use the shortcut Control G. I'm going to go over here to where it says model. You're going to want to right click it, export selection, and then I have it under a folder called Roblox exports. I'm just going to name it like first order trooper. Make sure it's an OBJ file and save. Now I have this guy saved. It's exporting it right now. That's why everything's been grayed out. It's just it's a file, so it just has to export it. And then we should be good to move on to the next part, Blender. Okay, so just gotta wait a bit. Okay, it's exported. So now you can go to File and Save to Roblox. I'm just gonna publish it right. Oh, nope, actually, never mind. So since it's a new game, open your Team Create menu. You're gonna want to click Publish, and I'm gonna call it GFX Trooper. And you can put it under whatever you want. I'm just gonna put it under this group. You can create it, and now it's saved under whatever group, or most likely you should be doing your profile for this. So now it's saved to that group, or you could do it under your profile. So now we're gonna want to go open Blender. This is Blender. This is what you should see. You should see a camera, a light, and a cube. Your screen should look identical to mine. So I'm just going to teach you guys some basic controls right now. Blender is a lot harder to control than Studio. So if you need to go search up other tutorials on how to use Blender and all those crazy stuff, please pause the video right now, go do so. But I'm going to try to teach you to the best of my ability the simple Blender controls that I know. So if you hold middle mouse button, you can rotate your camera. Pretty cool. You can also scroll in with your scroll wheel. The middle mouse button is the scroll wheel, by the way. So I can get all this cool stuff. And then the other best control is to hold shift and middle mouse button down, and you can move your thing like this. Those are the big controls that I use a lot. Right click opens up this fancy menu, and clicking selects stuff with left click. What we're going to do is we're going to want to delete this light. So press X on your keyboard and delete. We're going to want to delete this cube, X, and camera. We're going to want to leave the camera. Don't play around with it. Don't stretch it like this. This is bad. You want to just leave it right there. If you do anything you don't like, there is undo buttons. Press Control Z to undo, and I believe Control Y is to redo. Yeah. So I'm gonna want to go up to these buttons up here, these circles up here. We're gonna want to click the one on the far right, shading circle. So now we're like this, and we're gonna want to go over to this menu over here, and we're gonna want to go to the camera button, so to the scene. And I think it's under film. Yes, under film. Click transparent. Yes. Your screen should change to this grid view. Hopefully this doesn't bother you. If it does, turn off transparency, but make sure before we do the render, which I'll show you how to do later, make sure you change it back to transparent. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to go to File, import an OBJ file, this wavefront file, and we're going to want to go find that thing that we did, our first order stormtrooper, under my Roblox exports, this is where I put it. There's an MTL and an OBJ file. I'm gonna want to open the OBJ file. You should see up here when it pops up. It's a large model. My Blender's having some trouble inserting it. It's fine. Oh, now we see first order stormtrooper in here, or whatever you named your file. So, oh, there it is. We're gonna want to click it, right click, set origin, geometry to origin. And now he's in here in the middle. And we're gonna wanna just do some pretty basic stuff. We're gonna wanna, move him up above the ground. So we're gonna wanna click this 4 arrows and just move him up. Then we can click the rotate tool. This one, and spin him around just like in Studio. Now this is where Blender comes in handy. We're gonna want to click Shift A on your keyboard, and under light we want a spotlight. So just click that, and we should have this new thing appear in our Blender, this weird triangle thing. We're just gonna want to move it up. We're gonna want to move it up and move it this way and change. We're gonna hold this yellow dot and we're just gonna drag it out to face our stormtrooper. And we're gonna go under this where is it? Where is it? Okay, under the light. We're gonna want to change the power to whatever suits you best. I prefer 3000. But now we can see, if we come to the front, our stormtrooper has some light on him. He also has shadows and stuff. If you want, you can change the position of your light, but like this, so this is the sun. So if the sun's over here, maybe it's leaning in on an angle, you can have some fun with it. But I'm just gonna get this as my light. Now this camera is very important. If you cannot manipulate your camera, everything else is pointless. So on your keyboard, you should have the 0 key on your little number pad on the right hand side of your screen. On the right hand side of your keyboard, I mean, you should have this little box of keys. You're going to want to press the 0 key right here. If you don't have that, you can always press this button right here. And this looks at your camera. This is what your GFX is going to see. So right now, my GFX is his feet. Whatever is inside this tiny box. We're going to want to come out. And we're going to want to move the camera to be in line with him. Rotate it so it's looking at him. And then it's just a lot of moving the camera and then hopping back into the camera view to see what it's going to be. So I need to move it up. Okay, I need to move it up a bit more. You just keep going until you get what you like. Alright, let me move this back just a tiny bit more. I gotta move it up. There you go, I like that. So, without minding all these lines, I now have my little stormtrooper encased inside of this square. Might be orange, might not. And so what we're gonna do is we're gonna hit F12. Let's see if there's a button. I usually just render image right here, or you could press F12, it says. And you should open up another window with this. And this, you see, is whatever we saw on our camera is now right here. So we're going to want to hit image, save as, and I have a folder where I put all my renders. So I'm going to name it whatever you want, make sure it ends in PNG. So I'm going to name it First Order Stormtrooper. And save as image. Okay, so now we have this saved. Make sure this is the first order guy you like. Make sure you have it on transparent under the camera. Transparent. And now we should be done with all these fancy apps. So now we're going to want to go over to Sketchpad. And Sketchpad is pretty simple to use. Just play around with it. You can select things, click things. But we're going to want to go to clip art. You're going to load your own image. And here are all my renders I have in my renders folder. And I'm going to want to load in First Order Stormtrooper. Let's go back to select. Just scale him up. And just generally get him to a good size. So I want him like that. That's my Stormtrooper. So now we have our Stormtrooper. If you don't like the way your render turned out, you can go back into Blender and adjust your lighting, maybe make it more bright or whatever. But I think this is good for what I'm doing. Next thing we're going to do is to get a background. I'm going to click this, and it's actually the background I want, but you can come in here, you can play around with it. There's a bunch of linear things. Oh, I forgot one thing. Whoops. That is my bad. I'm very sorry. You want to go to New and make a 512 by 512 blank thing. Press Create. And now you have your screen set up like this. So I'm very sorry if you got confused there. Then we want to go back into clip art. I want to load this guy back in. Yes, that's on me. I'm very sorry if you didn't know how to get that because I already had it set up. So we're just going to move him back in here. And vector fill is what we're going to be using. And fill, you can change it up. There's a bunch of cool linear patterns, circle patterns. I prefer to use one of these. I'm going to be using this one. There's a bunch of patterns, or if you just want a straight up color. So I'm just going to, oops, I wanted this pattern, yes. And with these radiational patterns, you can control how much of the light is where. So I'm just going to give it like that glow behind him. Make it look cool. I don't know if you guys are getting a cool vibe right now, but I surely am. There you go. So now I have my cool background set up. I actually want to change it to a darker color. There we go. There you go. I like that. So you can move your guy again. You centered. Then we're going to want to go to text. So text. Find whatever text you want. Mine is Vocalorn. I like this. I'm going to type First Order. If you don't like the color, you can press styles and you can change all your styles up. So I'm going to make it white with an outline that's black. I can increase the outline with, actually let's make the outline white and the fill black. That looks cool to me. If you don't like the way it looks, you can change it. This is just my preference right now. I feel that looks cool, and that's all that matters. So you're going to want to position your text. And you pretty much have a GFX done. So you can press export, download again. And I'm just going to go in here, finish copies. And I can now name it whatever I want. So First Order Trooper, save. And now it's saved to my computer. So now I can go and I can share this with friends, give it to them. That GFX is done. But let's say that you're going to, I'm going to put it here on my work, and I don't want people to steal it. So I'm going to add something like this where it says my name on it, a watermark, so people can't steal it. So we're going to go back over here to text, and where it says fill, we're going to delete this 100, and we're going to replace it with 40. And then we're going to put our text here, write out your username, or however you're marking this as, and put it there. And now you have a watermarked version. Watermarked versions, same thing, you want to export it. I have a fancy way of taking screenshots on my computer. Let's just take that screenshot. Now I want to go over to my work, and I'm gonna paste it here. First order trooper. Now I'm just gonna put in parentheses, GFX tutorial. And I'm just gonna send it here so now other people can see, like, whoa, that's cool. But they can't use it because it has my name on it. So if they use it, everyone else is gonna say, like, oh, he stole that from someone else. So now I'm just gonna go back here, and that was the GFX tutorial. I hope you guys like your brand new GFX. So if you own, you can now sell this GFX. You can use it for your own projects. You can do whatever you want with it. Now that you know how to make GFX, feel free to comment, like, and subscribe. You need anything, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll try to clarify any questions. So before you ask a question in the comments, go check down in the comments already, see if there is a question. Any questions I answer will be hearted by me, so you can find them very easily. Anyway guys, that was the GFX tutorial. Hope you enjoyed. See ya!